Hey, Mark.
Here we go.
Background and
No one came.
I started off wanting to do something with the romantic comedy genre, you know, from the guy's point of view. So basically tried to think about questions that were important to people and what it actually meant to be in a relationship. That's where it started.
I'd never really read anything that was so similar to the way that I thought life was, in terms of their sense of humor, the weight their friendship carries, the good times that they have. It made sense to me. It was in my world.
Nobody gets ice cream.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. Did you go out the window? We're going out.
A lot of this is based in Tom's life. I think that's what makes it so special, is, you know, Tom brings a certain perspective to it. He's saying, no, I've been there, this is what happened. And then he's always open for us to sort of kind of impose our beliefs on it. It's kind of empowering. Nothing feels false.
I didn't know Zach, and when I wasn't sure that he was the right person for this part until we actually sat down, and I went out with him for a night, and we hung out for a few hours, and I said, this is actually the guy. And I think that he felt it was very close to who he is in real life. And if you're going to have a character who's doing pretty awful things, at times you need someone who has like a really, really like abundant amount of charm. When you see him, when you meet him, he would be very difficult to not like. And there's only a few actors, I think, that can pull this off.
I knew Zach was like a star, you know. He was like this buddy of mine from LA. But I didn't really realize how big of a star he was until we were out here in New York shooting. And I mean, the paparazzi, it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, literally, we're in the middle of a take, and there's like, all you hear is, like, oh my God, that is distracting. Like, the cameras are like snapping off pictures like non-stop in the middle of takes.
I mean, initially when I met with Tom, we talked about me playing Jason. And after that, the goal was to find who his friends would be. Tom really had his mindset on Miles Teller, who turned out to be fucking awesome.
Besides the fact that Tom Gormkin was going to be directing it, I was just excited to work with Michael B. Jordan and Zac Efron, really.
Miles was just a no-brainer. I love his sense of humor. I love his delivery. I love his style. I love the fact that he is absolutely and totally the most prepared person. I love the fact that he's an asshole. I love the fact, like, works perfectly. This is not a stretch, it's not a reach for him.
Tom Gormkin is literally the devil. And I've never met somebody who's so narcissistic and egotistical and abusive.
I'm just trying to get laid before I graduate high school.
Hi, I'm Sophie.
I know you are.
Super funny. He's probably the least serious guy in the group, the most easygoing, the biggest jokester.
Working with Zac Efron has been great because I really loved the Lorax, and so for me it's just exciting to work with somebody who's worked on the Lorax, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We have a good time here.
We landed on Michael B. Jordan to play the doctor, Mikey. And he's just perfect, fantastic actor. Actually, both these guys are my good friends.
Most of the prep that we did for this movie, we just went out and just had a good time. We went out to dinners, we had drinks, went out to the club and just really just bonded that way. That's how guys bond, is over alcohol, sports, and females.
When I first met him, I called my agent and I said, Michael B. Jordan is the truth. And I had heard a lot about him, so to finally work with him has been really cool. And yeah, what has he done? He's really good at like combining weird food elements from the deli and making like the most delicious sandwiches. He gave me a bagel with bacon, cream cheese, and jelly, and it's so good.
All of these guys became friends while we were making it. And I know everybody sort of says this about movies, but these guys actually became friends, the three of them especially, and the girls as well.
Zach very generously and kindly organized a sort of bonding trip. Mike, Zach, Tom Gormican and I we spent like a few days just hanging out. So that was really, really lovely. Miles wasn't invited because we didn't like him.
They took a vacation upstate. I wasn't a part of that. I don't know why. Oh, I know why, because Tom Gormican was there and I refused to go.
We spent about 4 days up there, and when we came back, like, they had a lot of stories to tell, they had like a common experience, and it was really, really, really helpful. And when we got to New York, outside of shooting, the guys were all living together, they were hanging out together, they were going everywhere, and the girls would come with us. We'd have all these big dinners like you do in New York, and that translated on screen, absolutely. And nothing to do with direction or anything. It was them.
Don't You Want to Love Something?
Tom is a terrific director, fantastic writer, but also, as much as there was a concrete script, there was also the ability to go and have fun and improvise or just give something a shot.
And cut.
You can't deny that if there is chemistry in real life, it does transfer to screen. Don't you want to love something?
What, do you love what you do?
Very, very little was improvised. We kept a pretty firm hand on it, and they stuck right to the script. And I would be rewriting on set, but I would give them lines to say. Occasionally, Miles Teller was able to, like, hammer in a line or two, but that's inevitable. You can't stop him.
That's for you. That's for you.
That's a weird mint, dude.
No, I know, it's Viagra. You got 4 hours to drink like Keith Richards, still got hard.
Every good action movie has a ticking clock, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there's an ad lib that I did that's really funny, but any of the lines that Tom wrote, just most of them just are just not funny. It's hard for me to try and sell those jokes because Tom Gormican is literally the devil.
Tom's really cool. He's really funny. He is so much like the characters that he wrote. The 3 boys and Tom are really just like this 4-person like wolf pack of guys.
My shit is orange.
Look at this.
Oh my God. When I first read it, it was just like, wow, are they gonna really like, first of all, I'm gonna have to be naked, like, show them my dick. That's number 1. And then number 2 is like, would tanning cream even work on me? Like, would that even like, you know, I can't really tan like that, you know?
I didn't know you could change colors.
Stop.
Your dick looks like a yam.
Your dick looks like a traffic code.
Just stop.
Your dick looks like a can of cheddar Pringles.
That's fucked up.
Your dick looks like Spike Lee in a Knicks game.
If your dick was jumping over the river, it would be the General Lee.
Miles came up with some pretty good jokes. Zach did too. Tom. We were just like literally had like a gamut. Like I was just standing there, and they were just running off as many like orange dick jokes as they could possibly think of. And I think we got some. I think we got some good ones.
This is my favorite place in the city.
New York just has like a special vibe about it. I don't know what it is. I was born and raised in California, but this city has sort of magic. It lends itself to the camera, and it brings a life, brings a texture to the screen and to the performances. It's been a fantastic place to work, a fantastic place to get to know, and I feel like it's its own character in the movie.
I grew up watching a lot of the romantic comedies that take place in New York. And I think whenever you see New York in the wintertime, it just kind of has this, like, beautiful quality to it. And sometimes me and the guys look at each other and it's like, yeah, we're filming a movie in New York in the winter, and it's right around Christmas and the holidays, and it's pretty sweet.
I mean, because there's something about the city, you know, like Manhattan itself, or New York is very, it feeds you. It feeds the creativity, it feeds love. There's so many things you can do. You can walk and talk. It's very intimate. The city is very intimate.
Well, New York's an incredibly romantic city, and I think that Tom, you know, very much lived this life. We were shot on the streets where the bars that Tom went to, you know, the world he knows, and I think that we have an authenticity that you don't usually see a lot. I mean, there's plenty of places where we could have shot this film that we would have had different incentives. In this case, we wanted to just keep New York because that really was kind of the heart of the movie.
Well, I think there's a lot of noise around the idea of what a relationship is and what it could be, and I think we oftentimes mistake false connection, whether it's looking at people's pictures on Instagram or talking to them on IM or on your phone or on text or, you know, on Facebook. And what this movie ultimately boils down to is that relationships are being there for someone when it's difficult and they need you. And that's it. And that's sort of like the universal theme of the movie, is that, and everyone can relate to that. And there's things that we use to try to get around that or create connections and the whole thing, but that's all that matters. That's my point of view, anyways, and that's what I'd like them to take from the movie.